There we go.
Okay.
Okay.
So.
Just have the one arm today, so.
Oh, one arm Coffey.
One arm Coffey.
As they call her.
The legends say. And I'm a fucking lefty. That's the worst part.
Couldn't have been a worse situation
No,
for you.
No.
Absolutely not.
Idiot.
Okay, we're 14 minutes or so into the non-recording. So.
Oh, wow.
All right, a little bit of silence, and then we'll get into this.
We're not going to do another cold open?
Well, there might be something in there that I might decide is the cold open. Who knows? Who could say?
Yeah, okay.
We'll all just have to listen and find out.
I'm going to leave that in your hands and God's hands.
Okay.
The two of you and four of your hands.
Jesus, take the laptop. Welcome to Bitter Coffee, a comedy podcast from two friends who are just about over it. I'm Derek Fanton.
And I'm Kelly Coffey.
Welcome, Kelly, to the wonderful, wonderful world of podcasting. And once again, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good.
Good.
Well,
are you good? Because
No.
I'm looking across the table at you, and I don't feel like you're as good as the last time we spoke.
You're right. That's a lie.
Okay.
We're 30 seconds in, and I'm lying to you.
We want to speak the truth here on Bitter Coffee. So tell us what's going on.
So, have a little bit of an injury.
Mm-hmm.
It's not an extension of the burnt tongue injury.
Thank God.
I've recovered fully from that.
Glad to hear it.
However,
Those thoughts and prayers worked.
they did. And thank you for the GoFundMe and
You're-
for the
yeah,
vigil.
absolutely,
I mean, all
absolutely.
these things work. The whole community really
The internet
banded
really
together.
came out to really help you
Really
with your burnt
did. I
tongue.
appreciate that. Social media is a wonderful thing.
Said no one.
So I was at the gym the other day, and
Well, first mistake.
well, no, I mean it's I kind of clear my head. It's how I love to start my day.
Okay.
I was there quite early in the morning, as you know.
Yes.
So it's me and one other person in like 4,000 treadmills.
Okay.
So I noticed that the woman a few treadmills down from me is watching Fox News.
Okay.
So immediately I see her as like, oh, I don't want to be around her.
Sure.
So I kind of let it go because I firmly believe that everybody is entitled to his or her own opinion.
That's
I
where
do
we
my
differ.
best. I
Okay,
do
good
my
for you.
best. Because, hey, it's 5 o'clock in the morning and she's at the gym too. So whatever.
All right, you're bonding over that. That makes sense.
Sure. So I notice when they're talking about Hillary Clinton on Fox News, and obviously they're saying kind of negative things about her.
Really? It's shocking.
It's so weird. They're usually so
I
open-minded.
know, exactly.
It's fair and balanced. She's pointing at the TV and like cackling and laughing. So obviously this is probably not somebody that I'm going to align with politically.
Also not serious about their workout, if I'm being honest. I don't know much about
I
it,
have no time
but
to point and cackle.
yeah, that's just not taking your swole seriously.
And when I'm done on the treadmill, that's when I get my cackling and my pointing in.
Exactly.
Like a normal person.
Like a standard human.
Exactly. So I did what any adult would do.
It is always the lead into a ridiculous thing you did. Go ahead.
I got off the treadmill and then went and used another treadmill
Okay.
really far away.
Well, that's not so
I'll
bad.
show you. So
That'll teach her.
that I think she learned a valuable lesson.
As did we all.
So anyway, so long story short, and I think it's already too late for that. I was working out on a machine that I don't normally use, but I was still kind of cranky, and I was like, let me just get one more set of whatever in.
Mm-hmm.
And I was using a machine I don't normally use, and that morning at work, I felt a little bit like, oh, wow, my muscles feel kind of weird, but they felt okay.
Okay.
And then that evening, I was struggling to use my arms to reach for the remote control. And so it's just kind of like flailing, trying to reach for the remote.
Yeah.
And Michelle was zero help.
Well, it's hilarious.
Yeah.
I'm just picturing it.
What
and
are you
I
doing?
would just
And
sit there too.
And I think I probably said, like, I'll figure it out. I'm fine.
I'm an
And
independent woman. I will take care of this.
exactly. And then when I woke up this morning, I can't extend my left arm.
Oh, no.
Can't do it. I can get to about, I'd say, I don't know how degrees work. So
You can get to about hee-haw distance.
Yep.
Right? So
Yeah.
no one can see me because, again, it's a podcast. But
Right.
I've got my arms cocked a little bit, and I'm swaying side to side like I'm out of hoedown.
Yep.
You can get to about hoedown extension.
It's hoe down extension I can
Yeah.
get to.
You
Comfortably.
You can get
Comfortably.
hoe down.
I can. So I tried to kind of hide it at work a little bit. Like I was putting my hand up on my shoulder. And that was just really
Stroking
creepy.
your shoulder most of the day.
Kind of like looking over my shoulder.
Touching your chin like you're deep in thought
wait.
constantly.
Oh, me? Little old me?
You're Taylor Swifting the whole time. You get your hands by your mouth.
And then I was just trying to hold it kind of parallel to the floor. And I asked my friend and coworker, Leah, hey, does this look natural? And I just walked by her office with my arm kind of sticking out. So I tried to hide it throughout the day by just carrying things around in my left hand. And I'm a lefty.
Oh,
just
right.
carrying things around in my left hand so I could keep it kind of bent in half.
There was a reason for you to have it up?
And
Yeah.
upright,
Oh,
yeah.
man.
So here I am, long story short, call the doctor's office and basically don't do anything for a few days. And
I mean, that doesn't sound so bad.
and so the receptionist said, put yourself in a sling. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Put your arm in a sling. She corrected herself.
Wait, so she don't put your whole self in a sling. That's called a hammock.
Don't get a
But
body
go
sling.
ahead and put your arm in a sling. That's been an experience. She had a bad experience one time
Right.
where she said to someone, put yourself in a sling, and then they were admitted to the hospital.
Exactly.
Because they were all strung up in this big contraption.
Yep.
Why'd you wrap
It was
yourself
like
in a
attached
hammock?
to the ceiling.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
the beam broke.
It's Predator.
Yeah.
And they're captured. Yeah.
So that's
So
to
you're
answer your question.
y'all slung up.
How you doing? I'm in a sling. That's how I'm doing.
I mean, in your defense, I did look across the table at you in a sling and ask you, how are you doing?
I know.
It's pretty clear. Not ideal.
Couldn't really walk away from that one.
Suboptimal.
Yep.
Speaking of suboptimal, let's talk about the podcast a little bit. So we've had a great time doing the podcast, and don't worry, we're going to still keep doing it. We want to thank everybody who has subscribed so far, has let us know they've subscribed. Again, if you subscribe to the podcast, shoot us an email, let us know, and we'll send you out one of those sweet, sweet Bitter coffee mugs that are incoming.
They should be here any day.
Yeah, really. Yeah, it's time to start waiting by the mailbox, I think.
It is.
But we wanted to encourage everyone as well to leave us an iTunes review. That's something we want to keep doing, is reading folks' iTunes reviews. It's a lot of fun for us. We want to read them on the podcast. But we wanted to reference one that we read the last episode, the episode before. I can't remember. It's been so long. We may have gone a little overboard in making fun of someone's screen name.
What,
just
we?
a little.
Is it we?
Okay, well, listen. I have a lot of opinions about screen names on the internet, and I feel like they should say something about you. Granted, I have terrible ones, but there was a screen name. It was CED0882. Was that what it was?
Mm-hmm.
Turns out that's a friend of yours.
Yes.
Of course it is,
Yep.
because I made it a point to say something about it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's Cedric. That's your friend Cedric, correct?
Yes. And we met under very strange and really kind of odd, but totally predictable circumstances.
Okay. Ooh, okay. I love the lead-in.
So, when was this? 2013, 2014.
Okay.
Whenever it was several years ago. Oh, so wow, I think I just missed my anniversary with Cedric. Happy anniversary, Cedric.
Oh, happy anniversary to you two. How sweet.
I know.
Well, I'm glad we're addressing this now, then.
I know.
It's
It
perfect
feels
timing.
great. It's the anniversary episode. So I was in Boston with Michelle, and I ran a half marathon. And that evening,
Humble brag. Yeah, I was down in Boston, ran a half marathon. NPD. Ran a half marathon.
not the point, but okay.
Sorry, to someone like me who leads a completely sedentary lifestyle, you just chuck in ran a half marathon. I'm immediately like, oh, good for fucking you.
So I was in Boston. I invented fire.
You may have heard of it.
I have pure drinking water for the entire world. I was in Boston for a couple of days. So I ran this half marathon, and Michelle and I decided, instead of driving, let's take the bus. The bus will be fun because we can watch movies and it'll be fine. So
Everyone who's ever ridden the bus is now going, oh boy.
and I've never taken a bus since then.
Okay, well,
Well,
that's another common situation.
Yeah.
You take that one long bus ride, you're like, boy, was that a
that's
mistake.
It was terrible. So we arrived in Boston, and I ran the half, and we were in the Greyhound station. So we're waiting online. And if there's one thing that you know about me that probably other people do know, I like to be first in line to stuff.
Right.
I just
we share
do.
that.
I
yeah.
don't know why.
It's
That's
a
right. We do
sickness.
share that.
Yeah,
We
it's
do.
a sickness.
I enjoy it. So we're waiting for the bus, and I'm thinking, wow, we're supposed to depart in 10 minutes, and there's still a bunch of us still waiting for the bus.
Okay.
So turns out that the person who was supposed to drive the bus was on vacation, and they failed to find a person to take his or her shift. So it's
Not out sick, mind you.
Nope.
On vacation.
on vacation. So, and this was Columbus Day weekend.
Oh, no.
So
I'm
there's
sure there won't be
tons of
increased
hotels
traffic.
available.
Right.
So
Easy
we'd
to
already
get
checked
around.
out of the hotel. So I figured we have to rent a car. I have to go to work the next day. I didn't have that Monday off. So we call Hertz and we're renting a car one way. So it's like $9,000 or whatever they're going to charge.
Some ridiculous
It's a
amount of
holiday
money.
weekend. It's one way. It's last minute. The odds are really against us.
Yep.
So I walk by the 78 other people that have been waiting to get on this bus.
Yep.
I kind of look around and I say, hey, we're going to Burlington. We rented a car. We have room for 2 more people if
nice.
anybody wants in.
Great.
So these 2 guys stand up immediately.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was Cedric or his friend Sean, but one of them said, I went in on that action. And I said, so I just want to let you know right off the bat that if you try to murder me, I will try to murder you back.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Reciprocal murder in
Fair
the
enough.
rented vehicle seems fair.
I want to be transparent.
And you know what? Get those things out of the way in advance.
Right, we're still in the bus station.
Made
So
the
if it
agreement.
turned ugly,
Yeah.
we could make a run for it.
Or if they didn't feel like that was an appropriate deal, they're welcome to opt out.
It's fine.
Yeah.
So I'm getting into a car with strangers, and then I blindly just go to the ATM and then hand Cedric or Sean money because he's going to put it on his credit card, so we're paying him cash. So I'm giving strangers money after I get in a car with them. Then we get in the rental car, and I proceeded to eat the candy and the food that they gave us. It wasn't candy. It was like cheese and crackers and scones.
But it was the metaphorical candy.
It was the metaphorical
that you'd
stranger
eat.
candy.
Stranger candy.
In the
right.
stranger car.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
So it was super fun
Uh-huh.
because
Well, there's that element of danger the whole time.
there's an element of
where,
danger
there might be reciprocal murder at any point.
any minute. But we quickly realized, like, oh, you guys are gay too. Okay, cool.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So within maybe 20 minutes of the car ride, it was, beautiful, being sung by all 4 of us by Christina Aguilera.
Fantastic.
Just had a sing-along.
Kismet.
And then we had to stop at about the halfway point.
Uh-huh.
And we stopped at this kind of gas station general store kind of looking place. It looked a little bit sketchy.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So we just kind of like doubled up like we were
you coupled
heterosexual
up.
couples.
You hetero coupled up.
Hilarious because I think Cedric is like he could probably be my son.
Okay. Okay.
If I was like,
Good for you.
little bit of a
Good for you.
Yeah, well, cougared up.
Yeah. Nice job.
So I think that was 5 years ago.
Wow. Okay.
So I was telling my boss the story the next day at work, and turns out she knows him.
No way.
Yeah.
What?
She when her kids were in grade school,
Mhm.
she coached Cedric's sister's basketball team.
Wow.
So that's my Cedric story.
Amazing. So all of that to be said,
All of that.
Just to say, Cedric, thank you again for your iTunes review. Mea culpa on the...
Did you say mea culpa?
I did.
It's mea culpa.
I know. I know what it actually is, Kelly. What are the odds that most people in the listening audience also know that it's mea culpa?
Mea culpa.
Mea culpa makes me... Is it like Mayor Koopa? Like it's a Mario reference? Maybe that's where I'm getting it.
It sounds like
Mea
it's a
culpa.
Hawaiian drink. Man, those mea culpas went right to my head.
Meleka mea culpa? Is that the 'tis the season, right?
I think so.
Mea culpa. To you, Cedric.
He's a good guy. And happy anniversary.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy friendiversary.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you again for leaving that review. Please, everybody, jump on iTunes, take a couple minutes, leave us a review. We really appreciate it. While we're still talking about fans of the show, we definitely wanted to make a special shout out on this episode of Bitter Coffee to your friend and neighbor, Devon.
Devon.
Yeah.
Devon and Jamie, my neighbors.
Absolutely. We wanted to thank Devon for listening. Devon is dealing with some real life, real things right now, and we wanted to just thank her like crazy for listening and for being a fan of the show. Thank you very, very much, and we absolutely wish you the best in everything that you're going through right now.
She's a warrior.
Yeah, absolutely.
So she and her husband Jamie drove down to Boston in a blizzard.
Ugh.
And she's going to be in the hospital for about a month.
Wow.
And she's getting a bone marrow transplant.
Yep.
And then she has to be in isolation for like a year.
Ugh.
Yeah, I don't know how she's doing it. So,
Yeah.
whatever you need, please let us know.
Absolutely. Yep.
And thank you so much for listening. And we will keep on doing this because apparently Devon likes to listen to our show when she's getting her radiation treatments.
And it makes her laugh.
Yeah.
And
so
if there's one thing we can do is make Devon laugh, that's the goal going forward.
Mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished.
Mission
So thanks,
accomplished,
Devon.
so-
And thanks, everybody else, for listening. We really appreciate it. We're having a great time doing this. And so just thank you. Thank you. So reviewing, looking back at the last show, which is something we always like to do. One, people are in love with Anthony, and I don't blame them. I think that's appropriate. Everyone should be in love with Anthony.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
Yeah.
So thanks for all the feedback we've gotten there. Thank you for the snow couches and snow chairs and snow furniture. Please keep those coming. We want to see more pictures of the incredible snow accoutrement that happens to live out there. Did I pronounce that one right, Kelly? Was accoutrement correctly? I don't know. Was that correct? I have no idea. But anyway, we want to thank everybody for sending those pictures in. Please keep them coming. Post it on Facebook, Bitter Coffee Pod, Twitter, Bitter Coffee Pod. Send us an email, bittercoffeepod@gmail.com. Again, COFFEY. But one other thing I wanted to address about the previous show was we spent a little bit of time talking about Winnie the Pooh last episode. And we were talking about how, the gender identity of Winnie the Pooh. I don't think we ever really came to any conclusions, and I haven't had the time to do the research to really get into that whole conversation. But one of the things that I wanted to point out was that I missed a huge opportunity to point out that we, in my household, my wife and I, we have many songs that we sing about many things. We have music in our hearts at all times, and especially about our pets, about our cats and our dog. And one of the songs we sing is about our cat Nori, and it is actually to the theme song of Winnie the Pooh. Pooh Bear, Winnie the Pooh Bear. We sing that song. It's her name is Nori. Nori the snow bear. She doesn't like snow, and she's not really a bear. Those are the lyrics. It's one of those things that we do as pet owners, and every time I say pet, it creeps me out because we don't think of them as pets. We think of them as family members at our house. And so one of the things that my wife and I do all the time is write these songs for our animals and sing them to them. They of course hate it, but we're not really concerned about what they feel like. We just want to make sure that we're making ourselves feel good, and part of that is singing these ridiculous songs. That one in particular has really taken on a life of its own because we sang it to you and Michelle on a car ride, I believe, down to a Celtics game once upon a time.
Once again in Boston.
Yeah, again, always has to do. It comes back to Boston. Everything
Always
circles
comes
back to Boston. But yeah, Snow Bear, Nori the Snow Bear. She doesn't like snow, and she's not really a bear. That is a great example of the fact that, and we share this as well, we have a love of our animals. And one of the things that we've always said in my household about kind of pets in general, but specifically cats, is just how simple people think how simple cats are to take care of. And Nori and her brother Goodwin, as well as our longtime homemate Sophia, are not simple creatures to take care of. They're nuts, and they're insane, and they make an incredible mess and an incredible racket. Both Nori and Goodwin have determined that they can get up on top of the cabinets in our kitchen and peer down upon us.
Oh, lovely.
/ knock things down off of them onto us, like while we're cooking dinner, or like jump down on the counter from the top of the fridge while we're doing something and just scare the living bejesus out of us. I spent very early on, we moved into our condo, I spent probably half an hour looking for Nori, and she was just laying on top of the cabinets in full view of me, but just above my eye line, so I didn't know she was there. And she's all black, and she just sits up there, and she will pounce on you at any point if you're not paying close enough attention. It's one of those things that I think every cat owner or pet owner kind of shares, is you get to this point where you love them so much they can do whatever they want, and you're fine with it.
Well, you really have no say in the matter.
Yeah, exactly. That's really the thing, especially with cats. So you have there's nothing you can do or say to them that's going to change their behavior in any way. You can train a dog, and some people argue that you can train a cat, but they're just training you in the long run.
Do you want to know the weird thing?
Yeah.
I thought you and Hannah wrote that melody. So I'm...
Well, thank you for that vote of confidence in our skills as musicians.
I mean, I'm kind of reassessing our friendship now because I thought,
no.
wow, they're so talented. They write really great jingles for their pets.
The gleam is off.
Pardon me. And it's made me choke on my tea.
We've taken the shine off of our incredible musical ability.
I may need to step away.
All right. Well, I'll edit it out of the podcast, and then you'll forget all about it. You forget it ever even happened.
No, leave it in. I want it to be real. This moment is raw.
We're real here.
No, I thought you guys wrote that.
No, it's Pooh Bear, Winnie the Pooh Bear. I hope so. Now, maybe we did.
Oh,
It's been a long time since I've seen Winnie the Pooh.
We have to research
I know.
now.
Now I gotta look up the theme song to Winnie the Pooh.
Christ. I mean, I think to an extent you can train a cat because you can show them where the litter box is.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, okay, I have that.
That is true. They can go to the bathroom in the house pretty consistently in the same
Don't you just
place.
have to like rub their paws in it or something, and then they kind of get it?
Yeah, I mean, basically, kittens are pretty easy if you get them early on to just say this is where you go to the bathroom, and they get it pretty quickly.
And you have to like reason with them a little bit, like, well, here are the reasons why you have to go to the bathroom here.
And occasionally they'll just not use it just to see what you do.
Right.
They'll just pee right near the litter box that
1
or 2 times when they're young, just to be like, how about here? Is this where I can go? And
I
then
do
you
that
say
every
no.
once in a while. I'm just like, just shy.
Just testing Michelle to see
just,
like how she feels about
let
it.
me see. I'm getting a little bit territorial here.
Mark this area.
But cats know where the litter box is. They know where their food is. They know where their humans are. That's all they really need.
Exactly. And that's what's great about cats is that they really can sort of fend for themselves and do their own thing, and they're happier doing their own thing.
They are.
That does not carry over to dogs necessarily.
No, it does not.
As you can speak to as a multi-dog household.
Well, I have 2 dogs. Michelle and I have 2 dogs, and Molly's really smart.
Yeah.
Like the fact that she's not sitting here with some headphones and a mic on is just weird.
She could mix this podcast way better than me.
I'm surprised that she hasn't already.
Yeah,
well, we can give her some tasks.
She's listening to the first couple episodes and she's like, oh man, the levels.
Yeah. Well, the crickets.
Right.
So Molly kind of does her own thing, and she's this great dog. Poppy, on the other hand, he's not a dog that we can train. He knows a couple of things. He knows when it's time for breakfast and dinner.
Sure.
And he knows to go to the door when he has to go to the bathroom.
Well,
so he's kind of like a cat.
Yeah. That's. I mean, but those are good things to know.
Yeah. He has the basics down.
Yeah, if we all know those things, if we all knew those things, we'd be pretty happy with ourselves.
But he tried to bite you a couple of weeks ago, right?
You know, he gets a little aggressive.
He does.
He's not a big dog.
No, he's 5 pounds.
He is incredibly tiny. As someone who's only really had big dogs up until Henry, who's a Beagle Jack Russell, who we have now, he is the smallest. Poppy is the smallest little pupper ever.
And people
adorable.
forget that he's so tiny.
Well, he's
you
so
forget sometimes.
loud.
And you're like, I forget that he's so tiny.
And if I leave for any length of time, I'm not here for weeks at a time. I come back, I'm like, that's right, he is so small.
He's super tiny.
But he has a big heart and a big spirit.
He does.
That's for sure.
And he's just not trainable. And we've tried to train him to not lose his mind when people come over.
And that's really the only way to describe it, because he does lose his mind.
He loses his mind. Knock at the door, and he's a lunatic.
Yeah, you'd think there was some kind of crazy high-pitched Doberman in here who was going to bite your head off.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So we hired a dog trainer to help us out with some stuff to maybe get Poppy to not constantly try and bite Michelle when she enters a room.
Not default to kill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's better now. This is going back a couple of
Right.
years. So we hired somebody, and she wanted him to like do tricks and stuff, to like balance some food on his nose and then like throw it up and catch it. And
You were just looking for obedience. You weren't
yeah,
looking
I
for
just want him to
Instagram
to, like,
famous.
be quiet
Right.
when somebody knocks on the door.
Right.
I'm not really asking for a lot, but maybe that starts with food balancing on noses. I have no idea.
We're not
I'm
dog
not a
trainers,
dog trainer,
Kelly.
so
Exactly. We're not
I
dog
don't know.
trainers.
It's not in my wheelhouse. So she came over a couple of times, and like we had homework to do, and I didn't do the homework, so then I felt terrible, and then
Jackson Galaxy would be very upset at you. The cat whisperer would be very angry with you if you didn't do your homework.
I didn't.
Shout
I
out
didn't.
Jackson Galaxy fans.
So she called before she came over, and she said, "Oh, one of my fellow dog trainers."
Oh,
okay.
Well, she's hooked up with a network.
It's a whole network. Is in town from Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to bring her over to meet Poppy. Great, no problem.
Like a consult?
I think so.
Okay,
And I'm
okay.
thinking, is this going to be extra? You know,
Sure.
I wasn't really sure. So they come over, and they made it very, very clear when we come over, we want Poppy out of his crate. We want him to see how he acts when somebody comes to
Right,
the door.
right.
Okay, not a problem.
Yep.
So lo and behold, they knock on the door, and he loses his mind.
Shocking.
And they walk in, and they've both got fanny packs on with like dog treats in them,
Oh,
and lots
okay.
of like ropes and leashes. And
I'm glad you mentioned that they had dog
supplies.
treats in them, because I was like, I don't see how the fanny packs is really relevant to the stuff. Now I get it. Okay.
And there was this whole, it was weird. They were talking in this language that I didn't understand. Like Molly came over and she said hi, and they said, "Oh yeah, do you want to give a high value?" And it was like the kind of treat they were going to give the dog. So, and I don't know what they're talking about. So I'm like, all right, I guess I know what they're doing. They're wearing fanny packs and they're using training terms.
Speaking a weird language.
That's it.
Must be pros.
They're in charge. So the trainer says, the Chicago trainer says, "I want to try something with Poppy." I said, okay, great. So she said, I'm going to leave and I'm going to knock on the door and then I'm going to come in and I'm going to sit down next to you because Poppy's very protective of me.
Sure.
So she does exactly that. Knocks on the door, comes in, sits down next to me. Poppy loses his shit.
Of course.
And he's trying to bite her and he's screaming and it's a whole thing. So she takes a dog toy and throws it at him as hard as she possibly can.
What?
It was crazy.
What?
So Michelle and I were like, what is happening? Thank Christ your wife wasn't here.
Oh my God, Hannah would have
Oh my
them.
God. Yeah, it would have been a scene.
Oh my God. Are you certain these were dog trainers and not just crazy people off the street?
I don't know. They were using dog terms and wearing fanny packs with dog treats in them, so I thought that's all the credentials I need to
Allegedly.
see.
I mean, how could you be sure?
That's all I need.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so chucks a
like,
toy at
oh
your
my
poor dog, your
God.
poor
I
5
looked at
pound dog. Yeah.
I look at Michelle and I'm like, what the hell is happening here?
Yeah, appropriately.
And she said, no, you know what I'm doing? I'm teaching him his boss. I'm like, oh, okay. So she said, let me do it again. And she walks outside, knocks on the door, comes in, sits down next to me. Poppy loses his shit again, although not as badly.
He's
and
thinking about it now.
Throws the toy at him again.
My God.
At this point, I'm like, she could do this to me. She's going to start throwing dog toys at me.
You're worried to say anything because
No
you're
idea.
concerned it might come back to haunt you.
So she does it a third time, and oddly enough, the third time, Poppy said nothing. He just sat there.
Wait, so it worked is what you're saying?
It worked. And you know what she says to me? She said, well, you know what happens? And she gave him a treat.
Uh-huh.
To let him know that, he had done
The
something
thing
good.
he did was right.
Yeah. And she's, you know what you got to do? You got to jackpot that bitch. Where am I? And like, who's...
First of all, it's a boy. Okay? Poppy is a male dog. So no one's jackpotting that bitch.
Like, what? Like...
Wait, so okay. So the reward,
No,
the
we'll break
treat
it down.
was the jackpot was the treat that he was given after he behaved properly?
I don't know.
Okay. Okay. I mean, it's hard to ask a follow-up question in that instance. You gotta jackpot that bitch.
You got to jackpot that bitch. In this Chicago accent. Would that make a great tattoo?
Just jackpot that
You
bitch?
gotta jackpot that bitch.
You gotta jackpot that bitch is better. Yeah, I like it.
And then it was just, so of course, she gave Molly a treat, and I was like, yeah, jackpot that bitch. Like, I was using their terms
now you're jackpotting that bitch. That's
Right.
true.
Is that okay?
In that case.
That works. So the money and time that we spent on dog training, which didn't really work.
Yeah.
But we got jackpot that bitch.
But yeah, in the long run, you got jackpot that bitch, in which I have heard you say, now that I'm thinking about it,
Yeah.
I have heard you say that.
Mhm.
Like, it's just kind of like a term of success.
It's like, yeah.
Yeah, when you're victorious about something, you
Good.
jackpot that bitch.
Yep. I handed in a term paper Monday night.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I did? I jackpotted
You
that bitch.
jackpotted that bitch.
I did.
Absolutely.
I did.
When I finish editing this podcast episode and I'm happy with the flow and I'm pleased with the length, you know what I've done there?
Tell me.
Jackpotted that bitch.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
So
Jackpot that bitch.
jackpot that bitch.
It was all worth it.
It was worth every penny.
The fear of a stranger throwing things at your 5-pound dog.
And trying to get him to balance things on his nose.
Balance things on his
He
nose.
doesn't even know where he is. He doesn't respond to his name, nothing. Yeah, he's going to balance a treat on his nose. I can't do that myself.
Like if the driver's ed teacher got in the car and was like, all right, what we're going to do is we're going to go off this ramp and you're going to jump these 3 buses. I know you don't know how to park or take a right, but you're going to jump these 3 buses.
You're going to do it.
And then we'll go from there. And if you don't, I'm going to throw my fucking shoe at you.
Exactly.
Now let's jackpot this bitch. My wife loves Molly. So Molly was here when we lived in the building, and Hannah fell in love with Molly desperately. I'm pretty sure she loves her more than me, but I don't think she'd argue that point, and it makes everybody happy, and that's fine.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, of course.
Molly's the reason you guys rented the apartment, isn't it?
she's not the reason.
Okay.
I can
it's
say
a nice apartment.
really confidently that the nice flooring in the bathroom and the wood floors were really nice, and the kitchen was very spacious. I have a feeling if there had not been a jovial black lab in the yard, it would have been a longer conversation.
I agree.
Instead, it was zero conversation, and how fast can we fill out this application and get it back to them?
So it's essentially Molly and Hannah's relationship that's responsible for this podcast.
100%. 100%. So
Circle of life.
Thank you, Molly.
Thank you, Molly. Thank you,
so
Hannah.
much, Molly. Thank you, Hannah, of course, as always, for making Bitter Coffee possible. We really appreciate that.
We really have nothing to do with it. It's all them.
No, it's 100% them, for sure. So we had, I'd thrown out on social today, on the socials. That's the technical term. I can put on Facebook that I work in marketing.
Are you fired up tonight? You seem a little fired up.
I'm a little fired up. There's a lot of things. I had a really crazy week at work. Let's just get into jobs, shall we?
Let's do it.
I had a really crazy week at work this week. I had a lot going on. My company, Logic Supply, makes computers. We deal with people that you would expect us to deal with in making computers. That includes folks like Intel and folks like Amazon Web Services and people like that. We had a lot of stuff going on at work this week, and it pretty much all ended yesterday. And so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday was just 100% stress. And then all of that was done as of yesterday. So today, it just felt like I was basking in the work that I would normally want to do and enjoy doing, as opposed to being distracted by all of this other stuff that was going on that's way more stressful. So yes, this is all of the energy that I haven't had a chance to have over the last few days is now coming out today. So yeah, I'm fired up. I'm excited to be here.
It's like you're on 10.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here tonight. I'm really excited to record.
It shows.
Thanks. I'm glad to hear it. But the jobs thing we actually wanted to get into was, as I said, I put up on the face spaces that we were looking for a random question, and Jeffrey wrote in to ask Kelly specifically, Kelly, what's your fondest memories or worst nightmares of working at the Woodridge Mall in the 80s?
Oh my God.
Which brought to mind the fact that we've both had mall experience. I worked at an FYE in Newington, New Hampshire in the mall, and you worked in the mall in Woodridge.
Well, I was born and raised in New Jersey.
Okay.
So I grew up in malls.
You've mauled a bit?
I've mauled a bit.
Yeah.
And then as soon as you're able to work, you go and you work in a mall. Mm-hmm. That's what
there's a lot of different places you could work at the mall, so it makes complete sense.
A ton of places.
So talk to me about your work experience at the mall. Like, where did you work at the mall? Was it the Gap?
No, well, I did work at a Gap in a mall, but that was different.
Okay.
That was a few years later. Mm-hmm. My first real job, I guess, I worked in a skateboard shop in Woodbridge, New Jersey, in Woodbridge Center. It was called Freestyle.
80s.
Oh, it was so 80s. It was fantastic. And I kind of built skateboards, and we kind of sold clothes, sort of. I mean, the store just basically ran itself.
Yeah. Everybody who's ever been in a skateboard shop, that's exactly how you describe it. There's skateboard stuff, and then there are clothes there. Does anyone buy any of those? I don't know.
We were sullen, and we were doing yo-yo tricks, and smoking cigarettes.
Yes.
The whole thing.
Delightful. Okay.
And so we worked in this mall, and one of the things that was really great about it was, you got to work in the mall with your friends all day.
Yeah.
Yay.
Right.
And there was this entire underground network of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There was this barter system that was always in place.
Yep.
If we gave somebody a T-shirt, I'm probably incriminating myself right now.
Statute of limitations,
whatever,
as way out of date at this point.
Look, my boss was the one who okayed all of this. So
your 19-year-old boss.
Exactly. No, she was older. I think she was she would think she was 21.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay, so she had all the life experience.
She would buy us booze.
Nice.
And actually on Christmas, every Christmas Eve, we would drink in the store.
Oh.
And we would drink 7-Up and peach schnapps. And we got a little bit drunk one day, and my boss was trying to tell me that she thought it tasted like Johnson's baby aspirin. And she just kept on saying, it tastes like a baby Johnson. And I was like, I know, it does. I knew what she was trying to say. So to this day, if I even just text her Baby Johnson, it's funny. So it's the Baby Johnson time of year.
However, you're on many lists as a result of your Baby Johnson text threads.
Baby Johnsons. So I think to answer Jeff's question, I think the best thing was that there was always somebody around to have fun with. Whether or not you were working didn't matter.
Yeah.
Didn't matter. And we never really had to pay for anything.
Nice.
And there was a woman that worked at Mrs. Fields Cookies.
Mm-hmm.
Her name was Kathy, and she had a mullet because, it was the 80s.
Sure.
It was a very severe mullet
Mm-hmm.
and very short on the sides and very kind of spiky on the top. And
Okay.
big waterfall looking part in the back.
You paint a picture.
And she had brown hair, and then the sides were dyed blonde.
Ooh.
And she was just automatically known as Cookie Butch.
Not Cookie Puss.
No.
Which you might mistake the delicious ice cream cake. No.
It's Cookie Butch.
Cookie Butch.
Mm-hmm. I hope that answers your question, Jeff.
Yeah, does that get you close to where you're looking? Yeah.
Maybe.
But I don't think that's the random question. So just to, again, little behind the scenes look at the podcast. Occasionally, from time to time, we'll take a note or two about things we want to talk about. Sometimes those things get in the podcast. Sometimes they don't. But you had written a note to me that you did not elaborate on about tonight's random question. It just says, I have a men's locker room question for you.
Oh, I do.
Okay.
Thank you for reminding me.
Okay.
I do.
I am
let's jump right in.
Intrigued. Okay, go ahead. I think I'm ready.
Okay, so prior to my arm injury, I was in the locker room. I'm getting my stuff together. I'm getting ready to leave, and I hear one of the employees training a new employee. Okay. And they're talking about, how to keep the locker room clean, and here's where the towels are, and here's where the showers are, and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of half paying attention, and as they're walking by me, they said, so this locker room, it's a little bit of work, but it's fine. And then she says, as they're leaving, and now let's go to the men's locker room. That's a completely different story. And that's all I heard.
Oh. So you'd like to know what's different about the story?
Right. Like, what's so different about the men's locker room? So
interesting.
A couple things. Is it more difficult or less difficult to maintain?
Yeah, that's a great question. Okay. Now I would expect that certain areas of the men's locker room are going to be way more annoying to clean. We have accuracy issues. It's well known. It's well documented. We just piss everywhere. Okay. It's a problem that men have. Yikes. Not like individuals, but as a group. It's like that line from Men in Black. Like, a person is smart. People are panicky idiots, essentially.
I never saw it, but it's fine.
Well, it's not surprising if you've listened to previous episodes of the podcast.
Let's not fight.
Let's not go there. It's fine.
Fight.
We're talking about locker rooms right now. We're not talking about that. So, but ultimately, I would think like the actual, like the toilet area would probably be more of a mess. Though, again, I don't know. I don't have the frame of reference. This is a problem because we're going to have this disconnect about you understand your world, I understand mine, but not each other's.
Right.
I would think that it probably smells way worse. Okay. I can't imagine it doesn't smell way worse. But when you're trying to train someone to clean the room, now I'm very curious, do you guys have like your lockers different?
Right.
Are like the benches completely different? Like,
are their counters different? Because she was talking about like you have to squeegee the counters because they're marble.
Do you guys have like couches? Or
no,
is there a sitting room? Because we don't have that. I can only tell you what we don't have that maybe you do. I don't. Is there like the weird thing you put wet clothes in to like spin and it dries? You don't have one of those. That. Okay, it might just be a different gym kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know what in the world could possibly be so different. Now I'm desperate to know.
I wanted to follow them out so I could hear the other half of the conversation.
Let's all go to the men's locker room.
It's a completely different story.
So if you work at a gym, anyone out there listening, if you work at a gym, or even if you don't work at a gym, but you go to a gym and you have an idea of what you think the difference between a men's locker room and a women's locker room is and why it would be a completely different story, we'd like to hear about it. Send us an email.
Seriously?
bittercoffeepod@gmail.com.
I'm ready to give out my phone number.
Just call me, text me, and let me know what's going on. Send us a message on Facebook immediately. Yeah.
One of the bigger challenges is I get uncomfortable when I see a lot of strangers naked.
Sure.
And I think every gym that I've belonged to, there's always one or two people that just walks around completely naked. Hey, how are you? How's your day?
They're everywhere.
Hey, what's the weather like outside? Should I put on my pants?
Hey, do I need pants to go out today?
Just
do you
so
think?
Weird.
I need pants out there?
I had to switch gyms because I saw my therapist naked.
Oh.
First of all, I see my therapist there, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, right away.
You know, and you do the whole like, oh, I don't see you. I don't see you.
Uh-huh.
And then I see her, and, you know, you chat a little bit, and then I saw her naked once.
You can't accept treatment from someone you've seen naked?
No. And she was like, oh, hey. I'm like, God damn it. I got the hell out of there.
Oh, the choices were switch gyms or switch therapists.
Mm-hmm.
So, oh, God, that's the worst.
Yeah, I switched both. I just wanted to be
thorough.
I just wanted to be just free and clear.
No,
of both.
we definitely run into that same issue where there's a level of nakedness that is acceptable to some. I think it's often for the men's locker room, and again, I can only speak for the men's locker room, it's usually the older gentlemen who, God bless them, just don't give a shit anymore.
Really?
They don't have the time or the care to wrap a towel or put on a pair of shorts.
I've had enough towels on in my day.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. I've hit my towel limit for my lifetime. I'm going from the lockers to the shower and back. Au natural.
What age does that start?
Based on my experience, it's in the 50s, I would say.
Okay.
I'm certainly not there.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm at the gym, I cannot wait to not be naked.
Right.
I am in such a hurry to be clothed.
I don't get naked at the gym, though.
There are certain
Why is
instances...
everybody naked there?
Well, if you're taking a shower...
No, I know. I go, I work out, and I go home, and I take my shower at home.
No, I can
Why
certainly
is everybody
relate to
naked
that.
there?
I think there's a certain stigma that it's an allowable place to be naked. So here's an interesting theory. Perhaps it's that there are a certain subset of people who yearn to be naked in public, but do not have the societal permission to do so, except in a locker room at the gym.
Or in Vermont.
Or literally anywhere in Vermont, as long as you leave your house naked.
Yeah, you can't get undressed in public.
Naked.
You can be
I recently
naked.
learned this. You cannot get undressed in public, but if you leave your house naked, you're welcome to stay that way.
Have you ever seen the naked bike ride?
Yes.
Okay.
I have.
You know, every year, there's always a guy on rollerblades. It's just...
and you'd think we'd be far enough from the heyday of rollerblades that it might phase out. Nope.
Come on,
nope.
Get on a bike. It's just, and
pedaling's bad enough. You don't need to be striding. Okay? We get it. All right? We understand.
With the arms behind their back. Oh, my God.
Normally, they lean forward for aerodynamics. This guy just does backbends the whole time. It's real weird.
Really
I don't understand what he's trying to do.
Very weird.
Yeah, I think that there may be just groups of people who are like, I can't get naked really anywhere else in my life, but I can be naked here, and so be it.
And they just celebrate it.
They do celebrate it, and it definitely, you can spot the folks right away. There's a certain bravado amongst the gentlemen who are willing to go into a locker room and just take it all off.
Yeah.
And they loiter. There's a loitering factor amongst the naked people. You were talking about them having a conversation, but I've had situations at the gym where there'll be somebody and they're always doing something that nobody else is doing. Somebody's brushing their teeth, buck ass naked, just standing there, and they're not focused on the brushing. They're just sort of turning, they're brushing along, they're looking around, might check something on their face while they're doing that.
Blow drying their hair.
And they always, it feels like they're looking for a conversation at all times. I just don't get that at all. Again, I am at every opportunity looking for any excuse to not be naked.
I don't make eye contact with anybody in a locker room.
Oh, God, no.
Any locker room.
It feels like abuse.
Yeah.
No.
Head down.
Yeah.
Get out of there.
Exactly.
Get out of there.
Fuck out of there.
My friend Kate had an experience in her gym where there was a woman in the locker room with her, and she asked her if she could borrow her lotion. And that just seems, I don't know, like a weird boundary thing.
Yeah.
And then...
Well, if it's somebody who's willing to get naked, they're probably willing to ask you to borrow your lotion.
Yeah. I think from that point on, we just started calling her Lotion. Or maybe it was a friend of hers. Maybe it was a friend of Kate's, and we started calling her Lotion.
Lotion.
I don't remember.
It's amazing how those nicknames stick.
Yeah.
When you come up with a nickname for somebody.
Cookie Butch.
Cookie
Lotion.
Butch is a great one.
Yeah.
I had a dorm neighbor who lived in a triple next door, and they were all friends. They clearly knew each other. They'd all opted to live together based on everything we had seen, and they used to sing terrible music at the top of their lungs.
How terrible.
Terrible for the situation. So, I don't think that Weird Al is a terrible artist, but, screaming Weird Al songs at, 1 a.m., you know what? If you have a passion, do you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Do you. But what it's gonna do is it's probably gonna earn you a nickname. So, the band leader, as it were, in that triple's name was Steven. And so we just called him Stevie Nicks and Fleetwood Mac. I never learned the other two kids' names. I still to this day have no idea what their names were. They were Fleetwood Mac. And one of them was Fleetwood, and one of them was Mac. And it was Stevie Nicks and Fleetwood and Mac.
Did you call him that name to his face?
We never had need to interact in any way, shape, or form.
So you'd refer to him.
I referred to him. That's true. Calling is different. I referred to him as Stevie Nicks at all times. It was great because his name was Steven, and so I wasn't far off.
No, it makes sense to me.
But those nicknames stick. That just know that if that happens to you, it's an unfortunate situation. Lotion.
One of my oldest, dearest friends is Pat Ryan, and he has been known since he was a child as Pearhead.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I mean, his head doesn't look like pear.
Okay.
And
Is there a story?
Yeah.
I'd be upset if there weren't.
No, I think my grandmother named him Pearhead.
That's even better.
Yeah, I think she said something like, "Oh, Patrick Ryan, he's a head like a pear," or something. And then
that's an elder naming you. You're never getting away from that.
No. And then, of course, I took it and ran with it.
Pearhead.
Yeah, he's still known as Pearhead. Pearhead Ryan.
Amazing.
He's 52 years old, and people still call him Pearhead.
That's
endearingly. Like, that's just his name.
We had 4 different guys named John in an organization that I was in college, again, related to the dorm. But we had to come up with ways to differentiate them all. And so that's how you end up with a nickname as well, is that you're in a situation where you have the same name as a lot of other people. So we had Bearded John, which got really awkward when he shaved his beard.
Oh,
and we still called him Bearded John because that made it almost
That's his
better.
name.
Yeah, it's his name. How are we? You're not going to change his name. I think we had Bike John because he was really into BMX bikes. We had Shorts John, who never wore pants.
Really?
Always wore shorts. Couldn't afford long pants was the excuse.
Long pants.
Long pants.
They're just pants, right?
No,
Have you not had this conversation?
Short pants and long pants.
It's just pants.
Normal people call them shorts and pants.
Right. I unfriended someone on Facebook years ago. He lives in California. He lives in San Francisco. So it's not like he's living in this tropical island somewhere.
Yeah.
And he would say things like, 60 degrees. I'm not wearing long pants.
Long pants.
And then I said, they're just pants. And then I realized that he really annoyed me. And I was like, I know.
Long pants are the pants that you have to walk the extra length off of. Those are long pants.
Those are long pants.
Right. But shorts are shorts.
They're shorts.
Not short pants. And then
they're shorts.
Yeah, it's exactly right. But you couldn't tell that to Shorts John. He couldn't afford long pants.
Aren't they pretty much the same price?
Exactly. It was such a stupid thing to say, but it stayed with him as long as I knew him, which was just through college, because I have no idea what he's doing now. But yeah.
You think he's still wearing shorts every day?
I mean, he can't goddamn afford long pants, can he?
Maybe he can now.
Maybe.
He
That's
has
true.
A degree.
I mean, you got to set goals. Someday, I'm going to get my degree, and I'm going to be able to afford some long pants.
I'm going to wear some pants. In that
order.
No. Oh,
long
sorry.
Pants.
Long pants. Not using the proper terminology.
Well, I think that we have, once again, hit up a real myriad of topics this evening. I'm excited to bring out into the world Jackpot That Bitch. I'm really excited to hear how everyone out there is using Jackpot That Bitch going forward.
Happy holidays,
everybody. Happy holidays. I hope that when you open the presents under the Christmas tree this year, I hope you look at them and you go, you know what? Jackpot That Bitch.
Yeah, just scream it. Scream it. Grandma will love it.
Especially if Grandma's there. Yeah,
Grandma's going to love it. She'll be like, goddamn right you did. She'll know.
That gift's a high value. Exactly.
But don't throw any toys at Grandma.
No, don't. She won't stop telling you things
she
just
won't
because
stop
you
yelling
throw,
when you knock on the door and walk in.
If you're just throwing stuff at her, she's not going to learn.
Nope.
You can only teach them at a certain age. Once they reach a certain age, they're not going to learn anymore.
That's it.
So
when they're old enough to walk around the locker room naked, you can't teach them anymore.
Well, you know what? They feel like they're jackpotting that bitch when they're walking around naked at that age.
Goddamn right.
And they have every right. God bless them. So we want to thank everybody to listen to Bitter Coffee. You can find Kelly on Twitter if you look real hard. You can find me on Twitter at Mobydiculous. If you enjoy the podcast, please subscribe. We post new episodes, from time to time. If you're so motivated, leave us a review on iTunes or wherever you're listening from. That helps us out a great deal. We'd love to read your iTunes review in the future. If you have questions, suggestions, topics you would like us to cover, or random questions, write us at bittercoffeepod@gmail.com. Again, COFFEY. And our intro and outro music is Hold Me Down by John Worthy and the Bends. We are co-produced, and our key grip is Michelle Pilardi. And we want to thank you all for listening. We'll talk to you again soon. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Woo!